Due to copyright laws from Viz and Toei, I will not upload clips from the Sailor Moon anime. You're stuck with me, unfortunately. We've seen many dubs of Sailor Moon, but there can only be one winner. Pioneer dub doesn't count because I want it to be as legitimate as possible with the scoring system. Yeah, I know that the censored content from television is uncensored in the Pioneer dub, but it still had bad voice acting. Anyways, here we go. You nostalgic fans are going to hate me for giving the Optimum Productions dubs lower scores than a 7. I'm going to be as brutally honest as possible. We'll start with the Deke dub. Although anime started much earlier than Sailor Moon, it wasn't as well known until this show arrived. The biggest problem of the dub was Zoisite being changed to female. What made me nerf the score so hard was the censors playing God with Zoisite's gender. I know it was a different time, but gays weren't promoting pornography to children. Yes, everything for children had to stay true to social norms, but there's nothing wrong with kids being weird. I felt bad for the producers because they were forced to normalize and censor everything that wasn't normal for kids just because of strict laws. I also feel sorry for the parents having to boycott gays and kids shows just because they were afraid of gays promoting pornography to children. Voice acting aside, I'll have to give the Deke dub a 6 out of 10. Now the Cloverway dub. Even though the music was the same as the Japanese version, there were a couple of problems that made me have to nerf the score a little bit compared to the Deke dub. Strict deadlines, thanks to Cartoon Network, made this dub rush to a fault. Some changes were okay, but what happened here was taken way too far. Fisheye got a tomboy treatment even worse than Zoisite. It was due to Fisheye wearing pretty clothing, taking pride in his feminine appearance, and attracting boys is what led to him getting a tomboy voice and gender change in the Cloverway dub. The voices of the main five outside of Sailor Jupiter were bad impersonators of Deke actors. One change I found unforgivable was changing the relationship from partners to cousins. I understand that the people in charge of the television industry was being considerate of little children, but not all content outside of social norm is bad for kids. I think that the people in charge of the American entertainment industry were being too hard on video games and anime from Japan just because there were certain content that wasn't associated with children. Bad impersonators of Deke actors for almost all of the main cast, Fisheye being portrayed as a tomboy just because he defied gender norms in every way possible, and the relationship change for Sailor Uranus and Neptune is why I rate the Cloverway dub a 4 out of 10. Well, I didn't like being mean spirited, but the censors had to be punished. I really felt bad for Deacon Cloverway being forced to censor Sailor Moon just because it was a kids' show. I know the producers were looking out for little children, but the people who wanted the show being censored so hard was being too harsh on Japanese entertainment. Sure, children shouldn't watch cartoons that have a lot of R-rated or PG-13 looking content, but the violence and mature themes looked PG rated more than anything else. The problem was that most Americans back in the 80s to early 90s were too simple minded. What led to all this Japanese entertainment censorship in the first place was not realizing that everyone watches cartoons and plays video games. What blinded them from the truth was that the age rating systems for video games and cartoons weren't invented until about the mid to late 90s. For playing God with the magical show people know and love, blinding Sailor Moon fans from the true Sailor Moon experience, and for crimes against anime and video game localization, I give the censors a guilty verdict. I know I shouldn't be too judgmental, but the censors caused too many sins for the anime and video game fanbase. Heavy censorship to Sailor Moon was why I had to punish the censors for not giving hardcore Sailor Moon fans what they really wanted. No wonder why 4Kids and Optimum Productions no longer exist. Don't get me wrong, the censors did a good job being considerate to little children, but they had to be punished for treating Sailor Moon like a bootleg. With all of that aside, it is finally time to review the Viz Media dub. This is a dub that gave Sailor Moon fans a true Sailor Moon experience. Despite some of the weird voice acting choices, I'm happy this dub became a carbon copy of the Japanese original. Sailor Moon Sailor Stars getting dubbed in English is why I consider this dub a masterpiece. All of the sins that Deacon Cloverway suffered from after dealing with the law upbringings of children's entertainment are atoned for here. All the Sailor Moon lies they were led to believe are fixed here. I will admit, this is the Sailor Moon hardcore Sailor Moon fans really want. All that unforgivable censorship you had to deal with when this show first came out in English no longer exists. What made me happy for this dub is Zoisite and Fisheye are no longer tomboys and that the two Sailor Guardians are not cousins. I love how the show handled opposites attract. For same-sex relationships, one person had to defy gender norms while the other person had to act true to their gender. Otherwise, it's a male and female relationship. Hardcore voice acting, the Viz dub not getting censored, and bonus points for Sailor Moon Sailor Stars getting dubbed in English is why I give this dub a perfect 10 out of 10. I had no choice but to give the Viz dub of Sailor Moon a perfect score because this is what the hardcore Sailor Moon fans wanted in the first place. With all the dubs reviewed, the winner is the Viz Media dub. Make no mistake, the classic Sailor Moon anime is nostalgic, but the only way you will get a true Sailor Moon experience is watching the Viz Media dub. I choose the Viz Media dub over all the others is because it's true to the original Japanese version and all the content that was in the original Japanese was left alone. The biggest change in earlier dubs of Sailor Moon I found unforgivable was gay erasure. I didn't like giving the earlier dubs a mixed reception and average, but what led me to do so was the unforgivable gay erasure. Sailor Moon was a nightmare to localize because many countries in the 90s were scared of kids watching pornography in a Japanese show, but I'm glad many people knew that the content wasn't too mature than what most people thought. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed my reviews of the Sailor Moon English dubs. That's it for this video. Until next time, this is Garver Boy signing off. Thanks for watching.